fighting with me over their looks, but they're fine. I'm the one that looks like Aaron. And Tazebot's always warning me, why must you look like Aaron? Why must you look like you are writing scriptures? You are part of history. It's bad enough that you're old enough to be part of history. Now you must also look like you're part of history. Okay. So if we're good to go, I believe we should go.
Okay.
And of all the children, the one we meet today is the most outspoken. So I'm praying that she should not over outspeak or under outspeak. The spanking debate. Should kids be spanked? What are your thoughts?
You know, when you use the word spank, it kind of makes it look subtle, but most people then beat.
Beat. Should kids be flogged?
Beat up.
Beat up.
That's why I hate your angling.
My angling, okay, the angling is wrong here. You want it more like this.
I think I like everything is just wrong.
You see, when you bring a teenager, that's when they'll notice lighting is not right, this is not right. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let me start by cracking you up with a few jokes. First things first, the Bill Gates that we've been abusing just donated $1 million to Nigeria. I don't know if you saw that story.
Yeah, I did.
Bill Gates that we have been abusing. We don't have hope. We don't have hope in this country. Somebody that we've been abusing has now donated $1 million to us. I hope we don't loot it. I hope we don't use it to build bridge. Did you see that bridge?
I did. I saw your comment.
Let me show my daughter the bridge. Oh, this is the bridge they built with 2 billion naira. I'm looking for it on Tunde Ednot's. I actually commented. I was like, did they use the cedar? This is a 2 billion naira bridge. 2.3 billion. Eh?
Have you ever fainted before?
Me, no. Why am I fainting? Did I eat anybody's money?
I think that's the new trend. So any day I do something bad to you and you ask me, Adam, why did you do this? Just know that I'll faint.
Come, stop teaching my child bad things. So now my child will begin to faint up and down. All right. Another gist is, as in today is the day of funny gist.
Oh yeah?
Madagascar is asking WHO for assistance. How did we get here? Madagascar, the country with the cure.
But you know,
No wonder I have many people. Almost fine girl, almost fine girl, almost fine. No wonder all of you people came out. 100 people already. They will not use woman and destroy people in this life. We are see the fine girl.
Daddy, please.
Hey, if I tell you to follow her like 50,
Alright.
why is she looking like this? Now she's looking cute. Hey, all of
I
you.
want you to say it.
Okay. We have another set of problems that we're going to be facing because you dare not tell a teenager, especially when she's 18, about her looks. Sometimes when I sit down with my children and I discuss about looks, we're worried like this when we're growing up. Their hair has to be like this, eyelashes have to be like this, nails have to be like this. I know I was a bit vain because I always knew I'll be a Hollywood superstar. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but... But 121 people watching already. Hey, we're not going to do show today. His daughter, people will be looking at. Anyway, she's here for a reason, purpose. So she's not here to for able to just be following anyhow. You'll be coming here more often. Don't worry. This is working. This is definitely working.
You don't have to reference.
She looks cute and pretty.
See how big-
Okay, so let us face what we came here for. Jamil is going to be joining us by 10 minutes past 11, which is about 5 minutes away. So we need to start the discussion. We started today with talking about parental flogging. It all started with a video that was posted on Twitter, and it was a video of a man beating a child of this age with belt. I don't know if you watched that video. Ada, did you see that video?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Someone is saying social distancing, please, inside our house. Don't worry, no need. So the guy was literally flogging his daughter on the floor. And I don't, okay, maybe my little son has chopped flogging once or twice because he can be extremely naughty. And I remember there was one time grandma flogged him because he was trying to jump from upstairs downstairs. Thankfully, grandma caught him, which is Tastebud's mom, and she gave him a flogging he will never forget. And he has never tried it since then. He didn't want to talk to grandma for like a month. And up till today, he still has fear for grandma. So, with her, I do more of shouting. But even thinking about it, shouting itself is emotional abuse.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever beat you before. Maybe this kind of
Your rough play.
this kind of beating and rough play beating, yes. Because the other day I gave he was reading a book and he was bent in such an angle that when we're growing up, we used to do this thing. I don't know if you ever did it.
Okay.
What's that?
I can't show it to you, that when you flick somebody's behind, it can be very painful. So anytime my son is reading a book or bent in a fine position, I always give him. And that day zone connected.
He said connected.
As in you could hear, as in the boy screamed. Then his mother ran into the room crying. And me, I was now trying to tell her that we're playing, but the boy, we're obviously playing. But the thing was too painful, so it was no longer play for him. So he couldn't defend me. So sometimes I know I play rough play that can inflict injury. Sometimes now, it's not all the time, it's all the time.
Every day.
Okay, and but it's rough play. But aside that, I do not beat. I pull ears. I know I pull their ears. I know I spank them on their shoulders, and I shout. When I lose my temper, I shout. Their mom, on the other hand, Naguru. I remember getting in between their mom and one of them before I used to report them because I can't beat. I'm not good at beating. So sometimes they will do things that will really annoy me. So I want their mom to deal. After I did it like first time, second time, I gave up. So I just used to handle things by myself. Now, they were flogging this 18-year-old girl on the floor with a belt and she was screaming. So I brought all the kids to watch. And we all agreed that it was child abuse. Twitter did not agree. We counted votes, 45 votes to 5 at a point. Everybody was like, that's how we're disciplined. That's Africa. We should discipline our children. Well, my darling, it got to a point where even I was worried. Now, somebody now came and made a comment. Somebody now came and made a comment on it. And that's how this whole debate started. The guy said, till tomorrow, my mother, a retired headmistress, spanked me till I got married at 37. She stopped on the day I paid my wife's bride price. At least her cane produced a reasonable Nigerian. And I was living. How's your mother caning you at 37?
How does he know he's a reasonable Nigerian?
And how does he thank you, my
How do
darling?
you know you're a reasonable Nigerian?
How do you know you're a reasonable Nigerian? So I said, if your mother is still spanking you at 37, she's a psychopath and she raised a psychopath. She didn't agree with me. Said I was too harsh on the mom, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes they scrutinize my work. There was one post I did about crocodile on Tunde Notes page. She did not let me rest about that post. After we argued back and forth, I said, okay, but it's the truth. She said, is every truth, must you say every truth?
Yeah, because that truth wasn't needed at the moment. Because what they are saying, it's not like they are saying it's a lie. It's just not something they were paying attention to. They're just mourning him. So like,
Anyway,
we'll talk
about Nat Joe Wild and that tweet another day if you start letting people know that I'm not right all the time, because a lot of people believe I'm right all the time. So I said this guy's mother spanking him at 37, the two of them were both psychopaths. I said the two of them were both mad. Because as a woman, you see a 37-year-old man and you spank him. So a lot of people now disagreed with me and they were like, Daddy Freeze, you cannot say that. It is wrong. This is somebody's mother. Blah, 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 blah. Then the reasonable man posted another tweet. He said, my 3-year-old daughter and 5-year-old son have marks on their bodies resulting from my spanks. Whether the correction worked, it did. So it now took it to a new dimension. If you must spank, somebody say, let her add her 5 kobo. Don't worry, she's here with us all night. I just want to introduce the topic. If you must spank, spank. Which one is marks on the body of 2-year-olds and 5-year-olds? Adobe. Simply Vic said the family is not well. Child abuse. So I want to first of all bring Captain Jamil Abubakar here. Jam boy, let me. You ready? Say hi. Oh, did I? Okay, it's right there. Washiri. So, ladies and gentlemen, our guest, Captain Jamil Abubakar. My very good friend and brother. Hey! See us you can't find today.
good evening, sir.
Me.
My daughter is greeting you.
Hello.
Sorry, we need your face more than our face for now.
Daddy Freeze.
How far? We're live on 99.3 Nigeria Info. And ladies and gentlemen, this is my good friend and brother, someone I love to call Jam Boy. More going to the history of that name. Now,
this night no go carry
this guy no go carry us. Now, Captain Jamboy is, you know, we are both pilots. It's just that me, my pilot now for mouth.
Yes. Actually, yeah, very true.
He owned a fly real aeroplane. And he is, why I chose him as my special guest is he has access to information that Nigeria wants to hear. First of all, his dad was the Inspector General of Police, I think 8 years ago. And
2014.
yeah, no, 6 years ago. 6 years ago. And he is also married to Alhaji Aliko Dangote's daughter, Fatima. So he's going to give us enough perspective. So, Captain Jamil, we'll start. What's your take on flogging a child? Do you think it works? Now, your dad being a policeman, because my other good friend and brother, Apostle Johnson Suleiman, said his mother used to use tear gas on them, and his mother was an assistant commissioner of police.
Wow.
So, what was your experience growing up with a force man?
Um, it's crazy because our mother was the one that was home most of the time, so she did a lot of the how do I say, a lot of the corrections and what to do and what not to do. I think help me with this for you. She did a lot of the corrections, like, okay, this is how you should be, this is how you should dress, this is exactly what you should do, etc. My father did not really, as a forceman, my father did not really, he was not really into the whole spanking of a thing, really. It was our mom. Every time we saw our mom, we knew how far. She didn't even need to touch you. She did not need to touch you. Like I said, a stare, she looks at you, you know exactly what to do. and I think it's like that. It's like that in most homes, right? The mothers actually take the lead role when it comes to discipline, and like they say, women are in charge of building a nation, right? So, yeah. My dad was not. Nah. It was not his thing. Like, he would advise you, he would talk to you, try to understand exactly where you're coming from. But my mom, because she was with you every day, she already knew what you meant when you smiled, when you cried, anything you said, she knew exactly what it was. So she knew when to give the signal that she was going to give. Like I said, she would only spank you when she tries a second time to correct you at that thing and you're doing it again. Yes. But she didn't even do a lot, really. And we all understood.
Now, when you and I were talking about 20 minutes ago, you were on the phone with your wife, and I told you to ask her what it was like growing up with the richest man in Africa. Did Alaji spank? Was he big on spanking?
You know, men are very close to their daughters, right? And I don't think spanking a kid actually makes the kid understand what is wrong or what is right. So a lot of talking actually did the trick, and a lot of listening. So, yeah.
And you are a new father now. What approach are you going to take?
Same approach. I'm going to learn from my elders.
So there's never going to be a time when you are going to bring out a cane and flog your son.
That's the thing. Would I? It really depends. What have they done? Right? And even at that, what is the gravity of what they've done? And still, even at that, what approach am I supposed to take? So I don't think I can really pin it down to say, okay, I would flog or not flog until the deed is done. Sometimes, some things that will require proper flogging would happen, and you would just be like, or you would be shocked that the elder who is attending to that situation would just be like, okay, let me speak to him. And then sometimes you do something very minute,
and then the flogging will come.
Start going left, right, middle, center. So
now, even though your mom didn't flog much, she used her eyes more. There were one or two floggings. Is there any memorable flogging? Any flogging that you can't forget? Any flogging?
Let me see. That's the thing. Like, we were not. It was not a common thing in the house, really. It was not. It was more of. In fact, if you were flogged, you were loved. But you get to talk when if they talk to you, you say guru.
I have one daughter, yes, that wants us to flog, not talk. The rest of them prefer talking. No, this one you can't even out-talk her. When you start the talking, you don't know who is the one talking and who is the one listening. So, but my daughter does not like to hear any kind of talk. Just flog me and let's end it. Then they will now tell her that if they flog you, they will still talk to you. So it's better you collect the talk.
So it's two.
Yes.
2 in 1.
So thank you so much, bro. This
I like
this
that.
is awesome. Lovely having you
Thank you
here.
very much.
You and I were supposed to have an
Thank
aviation
you very
show.
much, sir. Yes, we should.
Whatever happened to that?
Because
And
we
we're
have to talk about that.
and we're also supposed to talk about Bill Gates.
I would call you on the latter.
On the
The
latter.
aviation talk, we would plan it. For
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So let's
I'll
keep
call you
that
later.
moving. God bless you. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful to have you here. Take care of yourself and God bless. Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you
Jam
very
Boy,
much, sir.
aka
Bye-bye
Jamil MD Abubakar.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Okay. That was yeah. Uh-huh. Oh. What happened? It said it ended?
Yeah,
Oh wow.
it failed.
It failed. Okay. So Adobe, share. This is so sad. Okay, so we're continuing. Yes. So Adobe, what's your take?
Yes, daddy first.
Okay. Now, before we go any further, since I have a special guest inside my house, I might as well just bring my home special guest and allow her to talk. Someone is asking why is he bearing Jamboy? His name is Jamil, and there's a long story about it. Maybe one day he'll share it.
He's a boy.
He said he's a boy. So, over to you, Daniela. What is your take? Do you think beating works?
Yes, sometimes.
So you agree that all the beatings you collected is not all that you did not deserve.
Okay, I deserved some because it works doesn't mean that it's what's supposed to be implemented. There are other things that might have worked just as well as beating.
Now, with regards to your discipline, what do you consider the most effective measure? Beating or communication?
Communication. I think you should find what your kid likes. So when they mess up, you know what to take away from them. Instead of giving them lashes, like brutal.
Yeah. Okay. So no lashes. It's better you take what the kid really likes away from them. In her case, it's her phone. Just mentioning it, give me your phone. As in, you see the bewilderment. Huh? You want to take away my lungs? How will I breathe? So it actually has worked. Sometimes I say, you know what? If you don't do this, if you don't do this, no phone for 1 week.
So I
Damn.
don't understand. The girl they talk nonsense.
Don't be answering them. If you answer them, you.
No.
She's like me, oh, she will answer you and you not like yourself. So better stop
wait,
that.
but I don't get. Wait, so he's probably grown, right?
Yes.
Is he a reasonable Nigerian?
His mother intended him to be with the beating, but I'm not sure it's reasonable. If he was
Makes
reasonable,
sense.
he would not talk like that about an 18-year-old.
Exactly. I'm just 18. I'm a kid.
How are you a kid 18?
I'm a kid.
When Mary was your age, did she not have Jesus? Okay, let's not
That
talk about
was
it. All right.
Daddy
Let's all right, back to what we were saying. Now I'm going to be reading more of the perspective so we can all take part in this. Okay, quick message to whoa, Fumilola Aofie Biraimi. Wow, she's also here and she wants to contribute. I would love to bring her on if she's available. Let me just send her. Are you available? Fantastic. So let me start with the messages. Now, you, Daniela, from your own perspective, just tell me what you think. We're going to go through them very quickly. Sheun Kuti, which this is Fela's son. My dad never beat me, oh. Never, not once. But I was highly disciplined as a child. You train by example, not by force. And I now replied to him. I said, and you turned out quite well. He said, people need to learn that. My father said, don't steal, and he never stole. Don't lie, and he never lied to me. That is how you go about it. Tell somebody. What's your take on?
Makes sense.
So Shehu Kuti makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Okay. Number 2, Reno Omokri. I stopped spanking my kids. I end up crying more than them.
I think when he spanks his kids, he ends up
crying more than the child.
Like it's
I
not
haven't
the
seen
same, or what?
What do you think, Ada? He gets more emotional. He gets so emotional. Like sometimes kids don't realize that even when their parents spank them, it's not easy for the parent. They think it's easy.
No.
They don't know.
Sometimes it's easy. It seems like it's easy because if you're a parent here, you have to be honest. Sometimes when you beat your child, the first thing that came to your mind was not correction. It was that you were angry and you lashed out. Sometimes it happens. It happens with me and Jensen. Sometimes I just get angry and I want to hit him. Then I realize that, okay, I'm not doing this because I'm trying to correct him. I'm doing it because I got angry.
That's an amazing point right there. What's the first thought on your mind when you lash out? Is it correction or is it a transfer of anger? I can tell you 80% of the time is transfer of anger. Now, sometimes what brings the beating is the defiance. When you tell a child, don't chew gum, I'm just giving you an example, and the child says, no, why? What's wrong with it? Ngozi chews gum and they don't beat her. When you beat her, what you're trying to solidify is your stance as the man or the woman of the house, not that what they did was wrong. Hey, you've got to listen to me. This is my house, and in my house, you don't chew gum. Right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Now, when you have kids and you're raising them, you send them to good schools, and you give them phones, they're exposed, they go online and all that, and your kids now start asking questions like, I want to have a tattoo. There are things that we couldn't even think of asking our parents. My kids will come and say they want to have a second piercing. And I'll say, okay, you know what? We'll talk about it. Do you understand? Tattoos, all those kind of things. These things are happening in the minds of children. And if you're not able to talk and convince them, because you can't tell them that if you have a tattoo, you're not going to go to heaven. They're not going to answer you. So how do you get to convince a child that, okay, I would rather you don't have a tattoo? Not because there's anything wrong with tattoos, but I would prefer you don't have it for this, that, and those reasons. And these are some of the conversations I have with the kids. Now, trust me. Somebody said, foolishness abounds in the heart of a child. You have to teach him about consequence and reward while he or she is young. Foolishness does abound in the heart of a child. One of my kids one day was trying to climb downstairs from upstairs with a rope.
Even a proper rope. She tied her belts together
To make a rope.
One long rope.
I was trying to climb from upstairs downstairs. These are children. One of my children took a coin and swallowed it with water, like tablet.
Wow.
And for the next 4 days, she had to poo in a bucket so that we made sure that the coin came out. So, brother, whatever your name is, what's your name again?
The one that climbed
Udwak. Yes. Udwak. 100%. Foolishness abounds in the heart of a child. As in, the heart of a child is the factory of foolishness. So you have to, but would you really correct? Let me tell you, sometimes, I'll give you an example. Imagine your child falls and breaks their hand. It happened one day. We went out. We went for a movie. Mom and I went to watch a movie. From the movie, they called us that one of the children had broken their hand.
It's not even the first time.
Do you understand? Now, halfway in the movie, we've paid for the movie, we've bought the popcorn. Do you understand? And we work so hard, so we get movie nights maybe once in 2 months. So now we had to rush home, cancel the movie night, and start rushing to the hospital at 11:30 at night. So you can imagine sometimes when you come home to that kind of thing, the first thing that child will collect is conch, not knock. Conch. You must collect conch. It's impossible. Now why do you want to just stress me today? So anyway, more comments. Nata, who works with us right here on 99.3 Nigeria Info, said, I believe that what everyone becomes has nothing to do with how many times he or she got spanked. Truth is, I only reflected on those heart-to-heart conversations I had with my folks whenever I had to make some crucial life decision. Spanking is a failed approach, and this generation must accept it because it is here to stay whether we like it or not. I support your stand on this one.
They don't like it. And they hate it.
They hate it. Someone said you look exactly like your mom. Now,
Thank you.
my big, wonderful, darling sister, Uche Elendu. Daddy Freeze, we are not wiser than the Bible that tells us to spare the rod and spoil the child. My parents disciplined me in different ways as a child. Flogging was part of it and molded me and helped me understand the gravity of doing some certain things. Some mistakes deserve gentle counseling, especially when it's the first time. Some deserve scolding, while some, if hand taught you, you will grow up to be useless. Over to you, Daniela. What's your take?
I get where she's coming from. Like, it makes sense. But, like, how do you know that hand is the only thing that's going to cure your child? Like, sometimes I don't want to say they were lazy, but like they didn't try any other thing. It's hand that they were brought up with, so they don't believe that their own child should also be brought up with hand.
Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think this flogging is a transfer of?
Sometimes I feel like that's how it is. As in, my parents beat me, so I'm going to beat you. Like, it's some kind of revenge. I don't know. It's just whether you like to accept it or not. It might be in your subconscious, as in you don't know that that's what you're doing, but that's what you're going to do. Because there was a time I was asked to apologize to her. She just used to make food that she knows my mom likes, so that's what my mom does. If she thinks she offended us or anything, she says, I left a pair of sneakers for you in the fridge. Thank you. We know that's her language of apology, so we just accept it. But it doesn't mean it's right. We learn to say sorry. You can't say sorry, then you now tell your children that they should learn how to apologize. They're not going to learn it from anywhere. That's why I support what that guy said about teaching your children by example. And you know, when you guys get angry with me, the first thing you say, you're the first one, you're supposed to lead them. How do you lead? You lead by example. But like, I need to also see the example because I don't have anyone above me. Do you understand? It's only you guys that are above me. So I need to also look at someone. I need to look up to someone.
I told you this one was very wise. I just pray make she not fall my own hand here. Abi, Adobe, how you see the matter?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Okay. Tyrone, our head of presentation. What's Tyrone's office again? Head of programs for Cool FM. Baba, my parents spanked the life out of me. It took a lot to forgive them. Sometimes I question if I really have or can. It changed my temperament, not in the way the proverbial rod of correction. It's not the way the proverbial rod of correction. It's not an actual rod or whip. So let's talk about spare the rod and spoil the child. Spare the rod and spoil the child. Even Taste Bud said this, that maybe it's metaphorical. From my study of the scriptures, the rod was actually a proper rod. But my excuse is, what worked during the time of Moses? when people were gathering firewood. Do you gather firewood? We no longer gather firewood. Those days they used to gather firewood. Those days they didn't have antibiotics. Those
Their
days.
parents not very stubborn.
And their parent, well, yeah. So even though the rod was a physical rod, from my understanding, the context in which it was used and the society in which it was used is different from today's society. I would not say don't spank, but be very careful. You can actually make your children your enemy. They will live with you, they will stay in your house, and they'll only be waiting for that opportunity when they are no longer under your financial control, and then they are going to show you their real color. Okay, I'm taking a few more. Susan Peters, correction doesn't work by spanking kids, it makes them worse.
Using myself as a case study.
Somebody said, baby girl, I love to meet you.
My dad would say, back then my dad would say, anything 6 p.m., you better be home. And then in secondary school, guys started toasting me and started having the fun of, okay, let's stay outside, gist and drink. Actually, we're just taking some drink. But to me, it was like the life. Then I started coming back 6:30, 7. My dad would always beat me. Always beat me. Then I was putting it on library. But it was like library closes at 5. So why are you lying? He started beating me with Coco because he was my dad is a retired deputy superintendent of police. So he was always beating me. I got used to it. So I started dressing up, waiting for the my sweater on, my trouser, my hair warmer and soft, everything. To be back home, to receive that beating. It never stopped me. I continued, knowing the penalty was just to be flogged. So I was dressing to be flogged. So it didn't change a thing. But my mom had better ways of stopping me from doing bad things. So my mom was like, okay, you're back, drop your phone. I'm not going to take you out, no new clothes, no friends, nobody should visit you. So I was even scared of my mom's punishment more than that of my dad. So I don't think it worked. Nah, no way.
Okay, you've heard from Ada. Don't worry, guys. You guys are also going to be able to call in and talk. But I want to share as many of the celebrity perspectives as possible. Now, some kids, if you beat them from now till eternity, they will hear what? Their stubbornness no be here. All right, listen to Esther, one of our colleagues in the office. She said, good afternoon, sir. Just want you to know that my late dad and brother never spanked me. Rather, they were beating me using cables, shovel, broom, used me as a punching bag, and also starved me for weeks and left a scar on my body. But due to the act portrayed, I tried to hate them, but I couldn't because they're my blood. I distanced myself from my brother. I dislike him so much. Do you think this could have happened to you if I beat you with a shovel?
I don't know. Parents trained him so well, but no one actually trained him to be that loving. You know, he just forgave them. That's just him being a human being, like forgiving his parents that way. If he died, the child that are training, like, you see, he's not amounting to anything because he's dead. So I don't understand what kind of training this one is.
Because beating with shovel can actually kill a child.
The shovel will now be put to real use, like what you're supposed to use it
to dig a grave.
I don't get.
Apostle Suleiman, my very good friend and brother, he said, my mom did not just flog me. She baptized me with tear gas because she was the assistant commissioner of police. Whenever I did wrong, she would open my door whilst I'm sleeping and spray tear gas. I became hardened and started defying her orders. It doesn't work. It brings resentment. What a mentally daft parent lacks in brains, he makes up with the fist. Apostle de yarn. Apostle de yarn. They will grow up to eat you raw. I have never flogged any of my kids, and they kneel to greet despite not being Yorubas. I sit them down and tell them I love them, and they need my blessing to do well in life. And I can't give them that when I'm not happy with them. Oh, wow. This is a lovely approach. Apostle Johnson Suleiman is the general overseer of Omega Fire Ministries. And he's my good friend and brother. What do you think of that?
He's my good friend.
Is your good friend? Okay, so are there any comments on Apostle Suleiman's own?
I totally agree. I've never been in support of parents disciplining a child through flogging, spanking, or anything. There are better ways that you can instill discipline in them aside using the rod in quotes.
Okay. My mom beat me one day until I had blood inside my eyes. That happened to me too growing up.
That was gory now.
Oh, yeah. Then one side of your eyes will be red, then it will be changing gradually. Adewale Adeleke, Davido's elder brother, Chairman HKN, says, my mom did beat me. Each child is different. Some children need it. I surely did. Some of you can talk and they will understand. Some need other types of discipline. Just like learning styles are different, discipline should be different. What do you think?
Yeah, makes sense.
I don't. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah?
Okay. Okay, I have this other one here. My dad was in the military and he was always flogging us, my siblings and I, with koboko. Whenever we go wrong, and you know what Dad did? He didn't stop us from doing what we enjoy doing that he perceived as bad. Wrong. Instead, we got used to it. We're now dressing with thick sweaters, jeans, caps, and socks so that the bruises, marks don't reflect on our bodies. But my mom, on the other hand, had better ways of dealing with us. Anyway, that's Adobe's comment. You can find it on my page. But Adobe, you look fine inside this picture. Natural beauty.
Because they did not scare her with.
They say because they did not scare you.
I covered myself.
Okay. DJ Big N, celebrity DJ. Bro, I read the article. Now, I say this from a personal experience. It's a bit of the yin and a bit of the yang.
Yeah.
Growing up, I got my backside whooped when I did really bad stuff. I'll give you a quick scenario. I was 12 and I decided to try to plan my first heist. I wanted to steal 300 naira in 50 naira denominations. I got caught and was served a serious whooping that shaped my formative years and the perception I had of stealing. It could easily have been on the street with a tire on my head. In psychology, there's positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, and punishment. I believe some situations call for spanking. That's what's most important is use one hand to spank a child, use the other to draw him back and explain what happened. I'm good at that.
Yeah. That's us.
No, never mind. That is not to disagree that some after 18 you cease to be a child. My 2 cents. What's your take?
Me?
Yes.
Makes sense. They're all saying the same thing. It just makes
Adobe sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the part where he said use one hand to beat the child, the other hand to draw the child back.
Did your dad, after beating you, sit you down and spend time with you?
Not really. No. Instead, it was my mom, because he would do that, then he would leave for work, and then being all angry, I'll say I don't want to eat. My mom would not be the one explaining what I did and everything. So yeah, my dad was never that type. If you like, get angry. If you like, don't eat. It's business. He'll tell you when you're hungry, you find your way to the kitchen.
I think I'm the one that sits down with them and tries to talk to them after a beating, right? That iron was plenty.
No, I had to think. I had to think because sometimes it's because of you they will beat us.
Okay.
We'll just hear one banner. We know we're finished.
You know, also because I'm a man and I'm strong, I don't want to hit a child and then the eye spoils or the leg breaks. Then we'll now deal with that. So I believe that their mom is not softer than me. Their mom is actually stronger than me. So what's that?
just remember some things.
All right, Range Rover Doctor. Evening, bro. I think it's easier if the parent searches deep within himself or herself and reflects back on the exact way he felt when he was spanked by another adult. For me, I never felt like I deserved any spanking I received, and I actually behaved and changed more than I was spanked.
Yeah, I think that's how I am too.
Oh yes, I can say that about her. Get her into a conversation. But sometimes it's hard to get her into that conversation. But if you get her, you get results. Conversations work with her, especially. Now, we should open up the phone lines. Fumilola
Okay.
Aofiebi Raimi, the famous actor, said, concerning the parent spanking debate, my son is 8 and he does get the occasional smack on the cheek, wrist, or backside. He'd cry and return to play in a few minutes. What's interesting is he's more frightened when I ask him to face the wall. Something about that particular method that sinks in more. Maybe I should tell him to face the wall. No, they all have phones. Phones just solve everything. Just give me your phone. Oh, it's magic. As in,
Depends. If there's no data on the phone, you can have it.
there's always Wi-Fi. You always have, right? Then, when you actually get in conversations with their friends,
What do you mean?
I want to read one more before we open up the phone lines. Good evening, boss. This is my good friend and brother, MacDonald. I think spare the rod and spoil the child should be looked from the angle of love. Even when you're training your pet dog, you get the best out of the animal by positively rewarding it and gently nudging it on. We should start by positively encouraging a child with love and positive correction. It's just like a man who wants his wife to be submissive by always beating or commanding or being bossy. Meanwhile, when you love your wife, submission comes naturally. Why are you laughing?
Because it's cute.
It's cute. Previously, my children will eat and won't clean the table. I never spank them. I called them and told them leaving the table dirty will cause germs to grow, and the next time they eat on it, they'll fall sick. That's applying a rod. They never want to go to the hospital for fear of injections and all. The rod could mean love, period. Another method I apply is to put Wi-Fi off or to take their tabs from them. Parents don't disogy. Just turn the Wi-Fi off. Especially now when they are stuck in the house and they can't go anywhere. Wi-Fi is like magic. Okay, big shout out to McDonald. I'm going to post those things on those comments on my main page. But in the meantime, let's open up the phone lines. 0700 993 993 McDonald, you there here? Oh, you don't know. I don't know. Say you there here. They read your comment. 0700 993 993 993. Call us live on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let us have this conversation. The topic is spanking children. Should we spank children or not? A lot of people believe that there's some behaviors that need beating.
Okay. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, sir. What's your take? Okay.
Okay, good evening. How are you?
I'm
but I want to quickly to some points to add that is and others. During our time when we were growing up, I'm very sure that I was not balanced at the end of the talk of counseling. That's number one. Secondly, as I said, when you go out by 6 p.m., at 6 p.m., you're not allowed to go out by 6 p.m. It's like your own tablet at that particular time. Are you getting what I'm saying? For me, personal, my dad is somebody who would be done. Only say, don't tell us, 7 p.m., no one should go out. Or if you're going out, you say what you're going to. Same thing, say, when he's going out, you tell him what he's going. And 4-7 is at home. So you can imagine when in out of the house, he's doing what he said. And automatically, when you pay to do that, I when we're growing up, we didn't regret any floor. And we enjoy every part of it.
Thank you very much for that. More calls, Adobe.
Hello.
Hello,
Good evening. What's your name? Okay, Michael. What's your from you, please?
when it comes to sponsoring of children, I don't think we found them too much. They might expect for me to time. But I have a sense of that. When I was small, my mom and dad, there was a day I wanted to run away from here. I jumped from 3 stories down. Just the thing from there. So that's really that one.
Hello. Hello. Good evening.
Yeah.
Please.
Naomi,
Hello?
what son is burning?
All right.
That
Good
guy
evening.
that
How are
came to us
you?
that we dropped off.
Oh,
Good evening.
Wow. Hello.
I think you should ask him what you're beating.
Hello.
I don't think that's spanking and has negative consequences.
Hello.
Hello.
Please turn off your radio. Okay.
Yeah. That is it.
How are you?
We're not on natural consequences.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Yes, good evening. How are you?
Yeah. I think that after I believe that there's a level I can try. That was how I was brought up. I'm a father now by the grace of God. I have kids. And personally, I remember the day my daughter went. Both of them had all the food to the extent.
Okay.
By the grace of God, first month, that is the first one. So we were talking about responsibility this long.
Wow.
You should follow what works for
Welcome to the
us
phone lines today.
individually.
Hello.
Ada, somebody said, the only good thing about spanking is that I was not scared of cane in school at all because house rugged.
Yes, yeah. You know, in school we're not using it as we're not seeing it as fun. Whenever a teacher is punishing us, we tend not to cry. We'll just be doing this thing called we'll go back to noise making.
Habiba Adesoji says, I'm listening to you on Nigeria Info right now. God bless you, Daddy Freeze. 99.3 Nigeria Info is the radio station where we're on live. So, any WhatsApp messages, Ada?
Yes, please, we have a lot.
Okay.
Hello, Ada and Daddy Freeze. My name is Femi. I personally don't agree with spanking, but if anyone is going to do that, it shouldn't be excessive, okay? Good evening, Ada and Daddy Chris. My name is Emeka. For me, my dad never spanked me, but my mother would always. Okay. This one said, Lady Idi Amin. Don't know what that is. Oh,
You don't know the Amin Dada of Uganda.
Yeah. Not be small, you know. Wow. Okay. Somebody sending a different message entirely. We are not talking about scripture, please.
What is the person saying?
That please, let's go back to the Bible.
They tell you say this is a Bible show.
And this one is talking about tattoo.
What is he saying about tattoo?
Ada, what is going on? I'm on Instagram now. I can't see that degrees on Instagram. Tattoo is bad because I was told once you have a tattoo, you can't eat blood. I'll tell my child the implications of tattoo so that he can avoid doing it.
Listen, you can donate blood if you tattoo. Come on. Who told you can't? As it is the comedy. How can you not donate blood if you tattoo? Our people, man. Some people tell you can't make heaven. Listen, Leviticus 19, 27 and 28. 27 says, do not cut your hair and do not trim your beard. 28 says, do not tattoo. All your geos are clean shaven. And then they will not tell you not to tattoo. Come on. I don't personally like tattoos. Personally. I think, in my opinion, they cheapen the individual. But there are people who believe their bodies are canvas, their artworks, and tattoos are the artworks they put on their bodies. Each to his own. Would I like my kids to have tattoos? I'd rather they don't. But they start talking to me about having tattoos. I will try to convince them, try to show them that it might not be the best thing. However, somebody said, taste buds, good evening, ma. I love what you do. They thought it was taste buds here. They don't know say na pikin. This one is taste pikin. So, yeah, anymore.
Good evening, Ada. Please, can you help me tell that please to share some light on 2 Samuel 12, verse 11?
Are we going back to scripture again today?
I want. And then he wanted to say...
2 Samuel 9, verse 11.
12? No, 12.
Verse 11.
Yeah.
This is what the Lord says, because of you, what you have done, I will cause your own household to rebel against you. I will give your wives to another man before your very eyes, and he will go to bed with them in public view. And the lesson is, but you know, it was when Nathan was rebuking David. I know, in fairness, Absalom actually did it. You know the story of Absalom?
Yeah.
Absalom actually did it. He slept with David's concubines, though not wives, in the view of all Israel. So it was God rebuking David for killing Bathsheba's husband and coveting her. But I don't see what that has to do with what we're talking about, but I've explained it to you real quick, so let's move on.
As for me, spanking a child is not cool. I prefer punishment. Punishment goes a long way. Like one of our teachers used to say back then, and I quote, I'll give you a punishment that will make your bones useless for the rest of the day. Growing up as a teenager, one of the punishments my dad gave me was chaining me to the dining table because I hardly returned home on time. To me, I think a decent punishment is cool.
No. We coming home on time was war. It's like you just can't get kids, but eventually they got it, they sorted it out. Again.
My opinion on this issue is extreme beating. Okay, is that extreme beating creates fear and doesn't change the bad mindset of the child.
Sometimes it does.
Somebody's saying, where is Amarachi? She's sleeping. Amarachi is shy. You notice that Daniela speaks is more bold. Daniela will tell you her mind. Amarachi is more shy and want to do mew 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 mew. Someone said, "This your daughter is a very beautiful goddess.
Yeah.
From here to prison is not far. Just know."
Wow. Well, she's 18, that is great.
So you must come and carry her to your house now because she's 18, Abby. Why don't you come and bring her bride price once and for all?
Hey, we have to talk about that brush one day.
We have to talk about that bride price one day. You come, Abby. Will you join us? Okay. I've told them that I'm not collecting bride. We are not. Nobody's doing bride price for them. We are not selling children now. Are we a baby factory?
I have 3 brothers.
Okay.
Just saying, just saying. Okay, that is good evening. Shouting and beating goes a long way. Use the word of God also.
Shouting and beating. I know I shout. Oh, I shout. I shout. But sometimes I overshout. And sometimes I get very angry because I can't beat them. I now punch wall.
Very scary.
Very scary.
Time.
Daddy Freeze, my dad took me to welfare and beat hell out of me because I did not pull off my uniforms when I got back from school, went to play football. Now, what our parents considered a punishable by death offense, when you think of those things now, you'd wonder because you didn't take off your uniform and went to play
What's
football.
the history of not taking off this uniform? Is it a taboo or something? I don't understand why it's so
You
popular.
know why? Because we believe that you're going to wear the uniforms the next day and you need your uniforms to be neat. And most children, most parents usually buy 2 sets of uniforms. So you're wearing one, washing the other. How many sets of uniforms do you have?
I think 3.
3. Okay, that's max. I also had 3, but there are always times when one will get torn or you outgrow one and you have 2. So when you're washing one, you're wearing the other. So it's very annoying to parents when you look filthy in school. So if you don't come home, air your uniforms, you might end up having a bad odor, or they might end up emitting a bad odor. Now, also, you don't want the uniforms torn because uniforms are more expensive than normal clothes because the schools try to make a profit off them. So that's it. Any more comments, Adobe?
Yeah, we do. We have a lot. Spanking a few times, but more teachings and education is needed. A 4-year-old and a 5-year-old were caught having sex, and they were spanked seriously. Was it really needed in that situation? Nigeria, a country where parents shield their children from watching adults kissing or having sex on TV. Parents can never be with their children 24 hours a day. I think Nigerian parents, according to this solution, should educate their children about sex. They are not too young to be shielded. Okay, they are not too young to not allow them watch adults making out in your home. But you don't know what they watch while you're away. What if the neighbors keep them with porn videos? What if they are being sexually assaulted in school? These people live in a one-room apartment. What if they hear their parents moaning or screaming during sex? You think they would like to practice that? These children were flogged severely with marks on their bodies. So our advice, spank a child you want severely a few times and educate them more. Allow them to talk. Too much spanking makes a child withdrawn. Some children get addicted to it and it's like a normal thing to them. Spank a few times, teach them more. Bit by bit, teachings and corrections also helps. Abiodun from First Gate.
Should we take a couple of phone calls?
All right, 0700 993 993 993. I really don't know what's happening to the phone lines today. Hello? Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine.
What's your name, please?
My name is David. I'm calling from Nigeria.
Okay, David, let's hear from you.
Yeah, my opinion concerning the issue is also
Where you go?
that for
Is everyone watching that?
That one is just disturbing her life. That boy better come and play by bride price. Oh, you're not getting the joke.
Oh, I didn't understand.
You believe what? Okay.
Is he replying or is he just messaging?
He's just messaging. And he doesn't ranting and he doesn't rest.
Hey.
Only him they talk. No, this picture is not good. I need full picture.
If she posted it, doesn't mean she thinks it's fine.
But it doesn't fit in. Do you get? You see how much better this is? You see just her face. Like this, for instance. Do you get?
Yeah. Yeah. All right, thank you so much. Hello.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay, what's your name, please?
How are you doing? Good morning, please.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. Well, I just want to say, I've been doing this program ever since I started the military police. Able to I'm not 100% in agreement with some of his solution. Anyway, I'm just by name. I'm calling from Jamil, right?
Okay. Hello? Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I said I would love if this kind of topic, come in brought so, maybe in broad daylight, of the area to be discussed about. Because a lot of our parents need to hear about it.
Okay, but what's your opinion?
After this point. God's will said beating children helps. I'm a living testimony. I didn't quite hear anything he said. I don't know if you did. If you did, you're a genius.
Basically, he said you're doing a good job. That he's feeling that such a topic be up during the day when most parents will be awake, so they get to listen and learn. And then he said he's in support of spanking a child. He's against it.
Okay. Absolutely wonderful. Let's round off. I need someone from the UK. If you're on my live and you're from the UK, I need your perspective on this. Or from the USA or from the Abroadarian. If you're an Abroadarian anywhere, please will like your perspective. Uchiwale, can you talk? Let me know. Just send a message. Send yes. I just need a foreign perspective. Is beating allowed in any form, in any way or form, if you live abroad? So kindly comment on that. Can you beat your child abroad? Can you spank? Or you will go to a detention center. Okay, I have people from Italy. I just want one person. Okay, somebody, just juice. Okay, body glams. I know body glams. Body glams, let's go live. Body glams, let's go. Oh, Cheesy said it's freezing on her. Okay, body glams is here. Sister Me, how are you?
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Your
Good
UK
evening,
lines are always clear.
Yeah, Ireland. This is Ireland,
Yeah. How is the weather?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's just like Nigerian weather at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
It's great.
Now, do you spank your kids?
Well, smack, like my son is 9 years, right? I've got 3 daughters, a 19-year-old, 18-year-old, and I don't smack them.
Anymore, or did you ever smack at any point?
Well, yeah, when they were growing up, some of the things they would do, you would smack them on the butt.
Mm-hmm.
With the hand. I don't go for the cane or koboko or wire. To be honest, I don't believe in leaving well marks on my children's body. It becomes a problem when they get to school. And then the teachers see the marks on their bodies and then they ask, what happened? And you get the social welfare calling you, social protection services calling you. It's a big problem. My neighbor, who is Irish, she smacks the child. I see her, but definitely with the hand at the butt. Everybody does that.
Are you allowed to smack your child in any way or form in Europe or in Ireland? Let's take Ireland, for instance. Are you allowed to smack like this kind of smacking?
Oh yeah, you are allowed to smack. It's not what they are saying is abuse. We should know the difference between discipline and abuse. When you hit a child and then there's blood oozing from the corner of the head, and that's a big problem. But when you smack the child like on the butt, like behave yourself, like a child is misbehaving. I see a lot of Irish people smack the child, but they go on the back, like a whack. Definitely not like with a long cane and then the way we Africans do, you flop, swish, wash. Horrible. My father actually smacked. My father never smacked. I don't want to talk about my mom, but my father believed in talking sense into you. He would sit you down and he would talk to you. And I know I got into a lot of trouble, growing up. I actually got into a lot of trouble growing up. So my father would always call me into the study and talk to me because I had a lot of, one instance, I think I sent you the message. I said, don't post this. I had a lot of love letters coming from young boys when I was growing up. And my mother saw the letters. I didn't reply to the letters and all hell let loose, I was actually scared when, the letters would keep coming. They don't care. Back in the days, they'll keep writing and keep those things, so to speak, and that scared the living daylight out of me. But my dad saw the letters and was like, Grace talked to her and explained to her what life is all about. But my mom was like, oh, you even have people writing love letters to you. Wish, it's crazy. Or you break the plate and it becomes a problem. And the funny thing, I was more scared of my dad talking sense into me than the cane.
It always happens like that eventually.
Yeah, I wasn't scared of the cane. I was scared of my dad, his booming voice. So he sits you down, and you see the steadiness on his face, and you're sitting right opposite him, and he's talking to you. I dreaded those moments. So I would think twice before I do anything. I would go like, my dad's gonna get upset and he's gonna talk to me. But you know, I was never scared of the cane. What's the highest that can happen? They smack you and they beat you and that's it. End of story. But when you think of an elderly man, an older man sitting you down and talking to you with a booming voice, you would have to reset your brain yourself. You know, of course, I wish people smack. People smack, but in a good way. You know, not
abuse.
You know,
okay. Thank you so much, my sister. I want to bring one person from Sweden so we can get that other European perspective. God bless you, Body Glam. See you in my DM. We'll continue our chatting.
Okay, good night. Bye-bye.
Okay,
one final call, Adobe. Are you with me?
Okay, 0700 993 993 993. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. This is Moses from Lekki.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I can hear you clearly. Go ahead. You have 30 seconds, sir.
Children that they are children that naturally, when they see the kid, trust me, they will be without you even touching them. And they are children that, if you like, wake them up in the midnight to talk to them. That does not stop them from doing whatever they want to do. Those ones. So it depends on the child you bring up. Me, my dad beat the hell out of me. Like wire. You know wire? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Wire. All my back would peel.
Ah!
Because naturally, I didn't really see. I grew up my dad and I stayed with different parents and different family, my father's family. So when I stay with my dad and my stepmom, regular meetings, like my dad's wife rely on me, regular meetings, like staying. But let me just tell you, for the upbringing my dad had to give to me, I never hated my dad for one. I just saying I love him. It's just natural. It all depends on your Bible knowledge.
Ah.
Fear God and how to see things. But I believe something. If you are trained up to a certain age as a child, you have to train yourself. Even though if your parents are not present, that's your godly conscience will help you train yourself.
All right, thank you so much for that. Awesome. We're rounding off right now, and I've got one caller here from Sweden, right?
Yes, that's right.
All right, so let's hear the perspective in Europe, in the Nordic region. Are you allowed to spank, moderate spanking, kind of spank?
Okay, so just before I answer your question, I'd like to inform you that Sweden was the first country that prohibited spanking or caning of kids in the world. Yeah, Sweden started it. So you are not allowed to spank your child. You are not allowed to smack your child.
So you can't even smack them on the back.
No, people can do that, but it's not allowed. But you don't get caught. They could take their children from you straight up.
Oh, wow.
Give them to foster parents, yeah.
Now, I want to ask you a question. What's the crime rate in Sweden like?
The crime rate in Sweden is low, especially amongst the natives. But with the immigrants, it's a bit on the high side.
Okay, so it is us that they beat that are coming to scatter the country of those that they did not beat.
Yes, exactly. So the thing is this.
So beating obviously didn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It's more deeper issues when it comes to saying that kids of black kids are what we call it, stubborn, or is it those from the Arab countries they are stubborn, etc. No, it all boils down to the time people have with their children. If you see the Swedish family people, they have time for their kids. They have time to spend with their children. So even if a parent is no longer they're no longer together. They have to work together to take care of the children. There's a way they do things, and they well behaved. The average native Swedish is well behaved, actually. Very respectful. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. God bless you, sir. Thank you. Wow, that was wonderful. Adobe, what do you think?
Yeah. Absolutely, I totally agree with that. Please, I think it's high time we really understand that there are basic ways to punish a child. They shouldn't just resort to flogging, and I call it being brutal, because some parents, the way they beat their kids, you begin to wonder.
I did their kids, yeah.
Do you get? They beat them with so much, let me use the word passion. They beat them passionately, like until the child starts bleeding or almost to the point of the child wanting to faint. They won't stop. And I'm like, why? The child that wants to go back to that thing will still go back. Just look for what works best for that child. Maybe deny the child something. See which one is going to have an adverse effect on that child. Not just beating the child as if the day you gave birth to the child, they told you at the hospital, see this child, you have to be beating the child though. So that no.
All right, Daniela, final note. What do you have to say in closing? What did you learn? What do you want to drop on the table as you're leaving?
Okay, what I learned is that some people think that they are great or they are reasonable because their parents beat them, forgetting that there were people who also became greater and more reasonable without their parents beating them. So you can't say that it's because your parents beat you that you became reasonable. You heard that guy when he said that it's your own godly conscience. I know not everybody has God, but like he said, it's your own godly conscience that will guide you. And he kept on loving his dad. Me personally, I don't know if I can do that. I pray to God for the power, but not everybody is the same. You understand? So I just think just find what works for your kid, what works for you and your kid, and don't be too quick to jump on what you think is wrong, because what happened with those kids, like them having sex at like a really young age, I don't think you should have flogged them for it. It doesn't make sense. It's not their fault. It's like them watching Tom and Jerry, then trying some stupid stunt. You wouldn't have beaten them the way you would have beaten them for the sex, but it's because of what you already know about sex. For crying out loud, they're kids. They're not going to get pregnant. No one is getting pregnant. They're just kids. What's just going to happen is that whatever you are going to teach them when like puberty started hitting them, you might start teaching them a bit earlier, because they have already jump started whatever was supposed to come ahead. That's just it. I think just find what works for your kids.
And I agree with
Doesn't
that.
have to be flogging.
Parents, if you're romping in front of your kids, finish.
Because if you flog them, most of the time when you guys flog them, you're not really thinking about it in long term. It's usually just a short term thing. In your mind, you have corrected this child's wrongs and everything, and then when they are financially strong, like when they can take care of themselves, they become people that you barely recognize, and you start asking yourself questions like, where did you go wrong? So like, don't cause yourself to regret anything.
Absolutely. If you're having sex in the plain view of your children and you are now beating them for doing the same thing, I think it's sheer wickedness. They are learning from you and they're copying. Children are like monkeys and parrots. Monkeys imitate, parrots imitate. Parrots imitate your vocals, monkeys imitate your action. So kids are like a combination of monkeys and parrots. They say what you say and they do what you do. What you tell them to do is 5% of what they do.
And guess what? They don't know what they're actually saying. You know, they say parrots aren't actually talking. They're just imitating.
They're just imitating your voices.
So they are doing what you're doing without knowing
the consequences
exactly of what they're doing. Parrots don't talk. They just imitate.
They just
voices.
imitate vocals. Yeah, 100%. So when your children at a young age imitate your actions that are wrong, they're not doing it because they listen. For you to be able to derive pleasure from intimacy, you have to have, your body has to have evolved to a certain degree. You can't, I'm telling you, you can't at 7 or 8, for instance, you can't experience the pleasure. What you're doing is you're just monkeying. You're doing what you saw your parents doing, and you're trying to reenact a movie that was played out before you. And they are telling you, don't do it, but we're doing it. I don't want to go to the Bible, but if you go to the book of Matthew chapter 23, if you read from verse 1, Christ said, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in the seat of Moses. Listen to what they say, but don't do what they do, because they don't do what they say. So many of you are parental Pharisees. You say one thing, but you end up doing the other. You are the learning board your children are going to pick. And forget what you are telling them. They learn more from what they see you do. Because whatever you do, you stamp as a seal of approval. If you drink in front of them, they know it's okay to drink. If you beat your spouse in front of them, it's approval. Daddy has approved that we can beat our spouses. It's automatic. You will notice that men who beat their spouses usually come from abusive relationships. They watch their fathers beat their mothers, or they watch their mothers beat their fathers. So there was a certain lady I knew who was beating her boyfriend. We're in the same office. And apparently her mother used to beat her father, and her sisters used to beat their husbands. So I remember one day when everybody gathered on the guy's side, I said, Baba, leave this girl. She go beat you inside house. You don't go like her. And the lady was a very lovely, beautiful, intelligent, wonderful lady. But when she gets angry, she go begin to brush this guy. So that's how that relationship ended, because nobody wants to enter inside marriage and be collecting brushing. So ladies and gentlemen, your kids are watching. Sometimes as Africans, you will just be tempted to spank. Restrain yourself. And when you spank, don't spank in anger. I hate to say this, but sometimes you don't have anything to beat a wall. Because sometimes when that energy is in you, you want to transfer it somewhere, just transfer it to a wall. Because you might do more damage to your child than you'll be able to recover from. That's my take. God bless us all. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. It's been Live and Dangerous with Daddy Freeze's beautiful Wednesday evening. Thank you so much to my darling Daniela, who joined us today. Ada Blessing from the studio. Body Glams from Ireland. The gentleman from Sweden. And my lovely brother Jamil MD Abubakar from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so much, everyone, and God bless you, and look forward to being with you tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have another well-packed session like we did today. If you enjoyed today's session, make sure you join us on 99.3 Nigeria Info, same time tomorrow. It's going to be awesome. Stay with us.
All right, thank you so much, Daddy. Please do have an amazing night rest.
Sorry.